Whether we know it or not, we've reached our 10th episode here on MEC Roundup. The past 9 episodes have been nothing but outstanding guests filled with outstanding stories and information as well. But let's continue to look ahead. I'm excited. I'm optimistic about the future as well. And guess what? We got another great episode. We got another great guest. So let's get right into it. I'm pleased to be joined by West Virginia State's finest and Kanawha Valley finest as well, Mr. Anthony Pittman. Anthony, welcome to the program.
Welcome. Thanks for having me back on.
Well, what's going on, my man? I mean, you guys are off to a great start so far. What's going on with you?
It's just, I've been really just in taking it all in, really, and just going day by day with it. I mean, we kind of started out to a little rough start, then we finally got on the road. But ever since we didn't locked in, it's just been get better day by day, get 1% better, do something to better it.
Well, let's talk about this streak that you guys are on. As I mentioned, you guys are on an 8-game winning streak, and you guys are just on fire at this point. You know, dating all the way back to December 17th, which was your first game to start this hot streak. You know, when you look back at those first few games, and now you're on this 8-game streak, what sort of flipped around for you all, or should I say, when did that light flip on for you all? You're just like, let's get it ramped up.
It really wasn't like a light. It was really just. We were losing our games, and we would win 35 minutes of the game. In the last 5 minutes, we would somehow just fool around and mess around and end up losing the game. If you go back and look at the games we've lost, you can see how long we've held the lead and stuff. But from there, it was just like we got to lock in. Like those last 5 minutes felt selfish. Like it was more about let me get this bucket for us to win, and it wasn't working out for us. So after we figured that out, it was just lock the whole 40 minutes in. And I still don't believe we put a full 40 minutes together, but I just know from the games we've lost, it was just the last 5 minutes. Our last 5 minutes was killing us in those games. But ever since then, we just been locked in and just kept binding to what we got.
We'll talk more about Coach Poor here in a few minutes, but I want to talk about this streak that you guys are on, 8-game win streak, getting more and more towards the top in the MEC rankings. But was there something specific that Coach Poor said that, you know, also hit home for you all to try and hone in more on what he was trying to tell you all?
Honestly, no. Honestly, he kept the same game plan as what he wanted to be. It was on our end of it. He held his end up to it. We had to hold our end up to it. And that's what we finally started doing. And as you see, we're on an 8-game winning streak. But as a streak to us, I mean, yeah, it's cool and all. Don't get me wrong. It's cool and all. You get the high wave, yeah, you definitely do. But when you get like those fifth year seniors on your team, they kind of don't care about it because they know it's just really a game. And the show really starts once you get in that tournament time. So really, we just take it game by game. We win, have a little fun that night. The next day is over with. So we just keep that same mindset. We're gonna be all right.
Well, let's talk about this evening's matchup before we continue to talk about the rest of the season so far. But you guys got a great matchup this evening. You guys are going up against Fairmont State, number 2 team in the conference. Pretty much a battle for second place because if you guys win, you guys would move up. And if they win, they'll stay there. But regardless, it's a battle for second place. Both of you all are on an 8-game win streak. When you look at this matchup tonight, what immediately comes to mind for you? Because they also had your number earlier this season, beating you by 12. So talk about this game tonight.
It's definitely a game you can't get caught watching help side. It's definitely one of those games. I definitely respect to them. They're good at what they do and they stick to their game plan. They definitely do that. But just the night we got tonight, we definitely got to lock in on defense because they're good at getting you look one way and cut right behind your head, get a free bucket. That's Fairmont, and Fairmont, they're smart. They smart players. I've been watching film. They definitely, whenever you're not looking, they cutting. They doing something. So gameplay coming in tonight, we just got to lock in on defense, really. And we lost by 12, yeah. But if you watch that whole game, we were winning until the last 5 minutes-ish. Those last 5 minutes killed us, and then I say they got us, 6-8, 6-7. Then you finally get in the fouls, and they hit free throws. But as far as that, nah, I mean, really, we just got to lock in and do what we do.
So for whenever you say for you all to do what you do, when I tell you this needs to happen tonight for you all to beat Fairmont, what is that?
No second chance points, no easy cuts to the rim, and no straight line drives.
Okay, so let's talk about the structure of this team because now that we've gotten the streak out of the way, we've gotten tonight's game out of the way. Let's talk about this team. You mentioned how you guys are starting to buy in with one another yet again, trying to get your footing again, 8-game win streak. But what's the biggest thing that you've learned from this year's team? You're playing with some new guys, but yet again, you still have yourself, Jeremiah Moore, and Glenn Abram as well. When you look at this team so far, what's the biggest piece of advice or even biggest lesson that you've learned so far from this team?
That we've really, good one. Really, we've actually added it to where all five can give you a bucket, and not necessarily saying let's just spread the floor, go 1-on-1, but we kind of get somebody looking one way and then we go the other way with it, and we can actually like count on that person being able to do what they do, and not just even on the offensive, even on the defensive end. Like I think we've got our starting five is a group of guys that just plays both sides and not just a one-sided team. Like recently in the past, we've been extremely there on offense, and our defense has been kicking us. And now I feel like it's kind of even playing out, and that's where it's starting to show. But far as the team we've added, I definitely have to say we've added to where it's all five can do something to help somebody else get a bucket or help somebody in a defensive rotation, whatever. So that's definitely what I think that's the biggest part we've added.
I want to talk about a guy that I think is slowly blossoming into this conference and sort of establishing himself as well. That's Ernest Jenkins. You look at him, he's a graduate student, even though this is his last year of collegiate basketball, grad guy coming into a program, brand new program as well. But you're starting to see him pick it up a little bit more. Yeah, he's got 17 against Wesleyan. He had 17 against Glenville 2 games ago, then 11 against UC. When you look at him, what makes him so fun to watch?
See, this is you're new, and it's getting you right here because Ern was here when I was redshirted.
Oh, okay.
He was here recently before, then he left and went to Morgan, then came back. So the conference isn't nothing new. It's just he's got a whole new team than what he had before. So putting him with this team, obviously he can shoot the lights out. I mean, he's picking it up. Don't get me wrong, but he had the 3-point, the most threes in a game before Glenn Abram erupted and did that show he had. But as far as having him on the team as what 6-man, 7-man, wherever he comes in, it doesn't matter. We know that he's going to space the floor. And he's not one that he's not one you got to worry about shooting the ball. I get it. Shooters do go in little slumps, and he's probably in a little one coming out of it, and that's probably what's making him seem like he's finding himself. But he's been able to shoot the ball. That's just his game. That's what he do. But as with him on this team I know when he gets on the court, I got somebody I can throw the ball out there, and he gonna shoot it for sure.
I like it. Confidence. Confidence is key. So you've already let the cat out of the bag. Let's go right to that guy as well. Let's talk about Glenn. Because it always seems like Glenn just goes out there and he just does what he does every single night. He just goes out there, just drops 20 on somebody. It looks like it means something, but it looks like it took nothing at all. I mean, no effort was involved. I mean, he's just an absolute pure scorer. When you look at his game this year compared to last year, just talk about the differences, if any.
There's really no differences because Glenn does what Glenn does. And if you've been watching him, you see what he does, and you can't take nothing from it. But I would say he's definitely grown more into his game. Of course, obviously that's supposed to happen in your game, but he's understanding his shot selections. And not to not shoot the ball, just sometimes let me not take this shot and see what else we get on the backside. That's the biggest develop I can see. But other than that, he's legit a pure scorer. He's got to be top 5, maybe 3 players I've played with that can score like that. Like, no, it's game time, you see some of them. But when you get to see it every day, I'm telling you, you get to see some stuff like, hold on. He really making this? But nah, yeah. As you said, explain to him, Glenn does what Glenn does and drop 20 ball on you like it was nothing.
So it's almost like you do a double take. You have to wipe your eyes just to make sure you're not asleep, and you're just like,
Right.
he did that, that
Definitely.
kind of thing. Oh
Definitely,
man,
especially just doing some drills with him. Like I
yeah.
just got finished shoot with him, and he was kind of late, but just hit when he warms up, and then you finally see like, all right, here goes this shot. It's on now, and the stuff like he shoots and actually like wants to shoot. You definitely got to rub your eyes like, hold on, he really want to shoot this?
He's almost putting people on radar and just like, you might want to play up just a little bit more now.
Yeah, that's it. And now, heck, if you've been watching us, he's been dunking now. So
Yeah, yeah.
he's kind of thinking he's got a little package in him now.
Yeah, you gotta. It's almost seemed like you've humbled him a few times, and you're just like, now, Glenn, just let's take it easy.
A
But
little bit.
I know you. I believe me, I know you. But another guy I want to talk about, that's Jeremiah Moore. It continues to seem like he continues to be a matchup nightmare down low. I've talked with Coach Poor with him about Jeremiah as well. But I'm interested in always talking with players about guys like Jeremiah. Again, a matchup nightmare. Just gets it done offensively and defensively. What's it like playing alongside a guy like Jeremiah?
He's very smart. He's very smart. He understands the game, and I'm not gonna lie, he's up there too with people I've played with. Because sometimes
Really?
yeah, I'll do a spectacular play, but he probably got my back on the back end like that y'all didn't see. He's one of those players. Like, hey, he's the type. What we just played UC, and I promise you, this is no bash to his game. This is none of that. He had 4 points and 5 rebounds, and you would have never knew that. He didn't complain about it. He didn't say none of that. So he's one of a kind. He's very smart, and he just like. There's sometimes I go to the rim and I just throw it up there because I know he's gonna get the offensive putback. And he's one of them players. I can't lie, but he's definitely progressed. COVID kind of messed him up with his jump shot, but other than that, he's still the same Jerry. He's really the silent killer that we have. Like me and G kind of yell at you, and then there's Jerry behind us that's like, don't forget about me. He's
Of
definitely one of
course.
yeah.
So before we talk about the rest of the season and I want to go back to that game that you had just mentioned, that UC game. That was a quality win for you all. They were actually the top of the MEC at that time. When you look at that game, how important of a win was that for you all to get against UC?
Well, every win for us is important to us, at least. But to that game, I mean, it kind of does bump it up a little bit just because they're cross rivals. Don't get me wrong. It definitely does take it up a notch, but it was really just go in there and do what we do and get a win. And we knew we had what, me, Glenn, and Jared. We played in that game. What is that? My 4th time. Glenn 6, Jerry 6, something like that. Something along those lines. But it was for the team to have us. It definitely helped us. I'm not gonna lie, because we was used to that environment. But it was really just go in there and get a win. We knew it was gonna be a battle. But other than that, it was just get a win and let's go on about the week.
Okay, so enough about your teammates. Let's talk a little bit about you. I'm interested to see how you think you've grown this season, because we've talked before, but I'm interested. You've again, as always, you've been putting up great numbers. You've been having double doubles as if it's second nature at certain points. You're averaging right around 15 a game. You're shooting 84% from the free throw line, which I think is a tremendous number to be at. And then you look at your
Yeah,
other
don't
numbers.
keep going on the shooting stats though.
Believe me, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll go one more. 41% from the field, and we won't talk about the other one, but that's between the two of us. But I think something that people don't really understand about your game is that you love to pass and you're very willing to pass the ball. You have a great assist to turnover ratio. But when you look at your game and how you've performed so far this season, give me a self-report card of yourself. How would you evaluate your game, and what would you score it?
My game, Army Switch Knife. That's what I can. That's the best way you can explain it, because I'm just everywhere, and I've kind of like grasped the point. Like, all right, if I'm not everywhere, the team kind of feels off. Like, because that's just me playing like my game. It's not like I have to do this. It's just me. There's no me sit down with Coach Poor and you gotta no, there's none of that. It's just me. But far as like grading me, I'd say right now, like right about now, I'm probably about pushing a B plus, maybe. And that's with the last couple games. Cause right now I'm shooting, I didn't want to talk about. I'm shooting like 29% from three. It's
Yeah.
terrible. It's not terrible, but it's not good. And it's just to me, the threes, I'll shoot them. Don't get me wrong. But most of the time, I know for a fact the person in front of me is not going to guard me. It's who's help side, and that's where my assists come in from. So I've really just been watching myself and where's the help coming from. That's why I always get all those passes through the lane or whatever. It's you got to help with me, and from that you got to take your game to passing the ball. So it's really just I'm about a B plus.
So
I
you
get my shooting up on there. I'll give myself an A, but right now, nah.
So you're saying that you think your awareness and your ability to see the floor has definitely improved more this season. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, the game's definitely slowed down. Definitely slowed down. And I'm not gonna lie, people, some kids don't like the red shirt, but in my perspective, that red shirt year definitely helped me. It definitely helped me. Just not only to get yourself on track with in school, but to get your body ready for that type of a beating that goes on. Like you're really out there playing with some dudes that's got kids almost probably. So you just gotta battle yourself through there and get right. So that red shirt year, if anybody's if that's gonna listen to this and you're a red shirt, definitely take advantage of it. Because I promise you it's gonna help you in the long run.
I always feel like anytime I talk to you, I always know I can laugh, learn something, and then grow from it. And you've done all three so far, so I appreciate that. But before we got on the air, Anthony, I asked you how you're doing and everything else, and you had mentioned the COVID aspect of the season. Again, active cases in the state of West Virginia are right around 18,000, starting to go down a little bit, but not as much as before. But has COVID become yet again a concern for you and your team, or is it just something you just have to tackle whenever that does come up?
Well, as far as my team, I think we've got I think only 3 players not vaccinated, including me. I'm one of them. But it's really once it first hit, it definitely like messed us up a little. Like I'm not gonna say a little bit, it messes up a lot. But far as now, like we've been to Hawaii and stuff like that, we've been able to control it. We haven't had a case. Don't want to jinx us, knock on wood, any of that. But for me, it's just I really don't go out no more. I go get something to eat and I come back home and I just chill from there. But as far as like it bothered me, yeah, it kind of stops me from going out. But once season hit, I normally don't even go out because I'm focused. I just want to lock in, do work, and then go play the game. That's it. But as of right now, nah, COVID's no bother to us. It's definitely on our minds. It's not one of those you can just forget about and go on, but it's definitely on our minds. So we've definitely like we got to mask up and all that for sure. But as far as all around, nah, no, nothing crazy bothered towards us.
Before we talk about Coach Poor, and then I'll get you out of here. I want to talk about the rest of the season because I'm looking at your schedule right now. You have Fairmont tonight. You go on the road on Saturday. Go play at Frostburg, and then next Wednesday you play West Liberty. So right there, in 2 of your next 3 games, you're going to be playing against some of the top teams in this league. How important is it for you all to get out of it what you can in these 2 games against 2 quality opponents in Fairmont and West Liberty, and do not throw out Frostburg as well because they're very good as well.
Definitely. I mean, shoot, it's like you definitely want to win all 3. You definitely do, and especially with Fairmont being on your home court, that's definitely a get back game. Them and West Lib, honestly. So I mean, out of the week, it's definitely I look at it as we got to go 2-0. You go 2-0, you start the next week, then you go from there. But those Fairmont and West Lib, and not overlooking Frostburg, but the conference knows Fairmont and West Lib. It's like the conference knows them team. And don't get me wrong, we went to Frostburg last year and lost to them. They had us down by 20. We came back, took the lead, and then they kept it going. So it's definitely a big game, all 3. I can't lie to you. Just considering the fact the fact that we haven't won at Frostburg and we lost to Fairmont and West Lit beat us too on our home court. So to look at it, it's tough. It's a tough week. It's definitely not a week we could coast through and play a C- or B- game and get by. You definitely got to bring your game every game day, really.
And then lastly, looking at your relationship with Coach Poor, I know I've talked to you about it elsewhere, but for people that don't understand or don't know necessarily the relationship between you and your head coach Brian Poor, how unique of a relationship is that?
It's one of the kind to have with a head coach. It's what I can't lie. It's one of the kind to have with a head coach. It's to the point where like sometimes we do 5-on-5 segments and we like do a little team huddle before we get to doing it, and we'll accidentally like I'll say you can call this play and he end up calling the play. So it's kind of like it kind of gets a little scary sometimes when I'm actually end up calling the play and he calling the same play that we do it. So the relationship we got is definitely one of a kind. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely what I've had. What 4 or 5 coaches, and he's in those 4 or 5 best coaches I've had. So yeah, he's definitely that's my guy. I can't lie, that's my guy.
I believe that. I do believe that. But Anthony, I appreciate your time. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and best luck the rest of the way this season.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, and a big shout out to Noah that's in the starting lineup. He's a fresh. It's not really a freshman, but he's on his way. He's going to make his way. Him and the whole rest of the team and our whole staff we definitely got something unique over here for sure.
I will concur with that one, but again, I have to be biased, so good luck.
Nah, understandable.
All right, my man. Well, I'm gonna get you out of here. Thank you again for joining me, and take care.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.
A special thank you to Anthony Pittman for joining me. And without further ado, that will conclude this episode, and I will catch you all next time on episode 11. And again, you can follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as well. I'll catch you all next time on episode 11.